Okay, good afternoon. It's the day that we've been waiting for quite some time. Lackawanna County is now in the yellow phase, which is very exciting news. We are able to reopen most of our retail, and restaurants are able to have outdoor dining. So we're very excited about that. The weather isn't quite cooperating for some of that outdoor dining, but at least we're able to, and we have our businesses that are able to open their doors today. So we're very excited about that. We'll get into details about that and how to connect with the city to make sure that we know what you're planning and make sure that it's all safe. But other than that, you're able to go out onto your sidewalks and spread your business out in order to practice social distancing. So today is also, I'm excited that it's June, it's Pride Month. We raised the flag quietly on June 1st at City Hall. It was an honor to be able to do that. We will have a ceremony in October now with Queer NEPA. That obviously we weren't going to do it on June 1st while we're still in the red, so we'll do that in October. So we'll be able to celebrate Pride twice this year. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, it's very important that we celebrate all of the diversity that we have here in Scranton. I remember every Pride Month, I always think about, I used to live in DuPont Circle in DC. I used to live in the west side of West Village, and see, now I say West Side, West Village in New York. And I was always in my apartments there, I was always on the parade routes during Pride Month. So that was always cool. And then when I was in Washington, D.C. on June 26, 2015, when same-sex marriage passed through the Supreme Court. That was one of the coolest evenings I can remember. We were all at dinner and everyone just went wild, and the White House was lit up in rainbow colors, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful moment in our country. So for all of you out there that are waiting to be able to celebrate Pride together, today we're in yellow phase, so you can celebrate outside with friends at restaurants. Parties, though, it's still tough. Yellow does mean caution. We're still in a situation here where we are not supposed to have gatherings over 25. So, now it used to be no more than 10, now no more than 25. So it's building, but please try to not have those gatherings, big gatherings anywhere in the city until we're in that green phase, which I hope will be sooner than later, but we have to wait and see. So really want to emphasize that we are still needing to wear masks. We're still needing to social distance. I remain nervous about all of this because I know it feels like a celebration. Okay, we did it. Let's keep going. And while our numbers are down and there aren't very many people in the hospitals right now with COVID, that's tremendous. It's also because of all the actions that we've taken. So we don't want to see those numbers continue to rise. COVID is still here. It is still with us. We got to live with it. And so going yellow doesn't mean that we are automatically out of the woods. So with all of the actions that we have had to take here locally, at statewide, the national level to mitigate COVID, we all know that so many people have lost their jobs, lost income, lost so much, and hopefully not businesses, but we know some of those businesses that haven't been able to be open in the last few months are teetering on the brink. So last night, City Council passed our Grown Loan and Grant Fund here at the city. We're very excited about that. I have Eileen Cipriani on the line with us. She is the new director of the Office of Economic and Community Development here in Scranton. Eileen comes to us from the state of Pennsylvania. She was a deputy secretary at Labor and Industry. Her expertise is in workforce development. She is the perfect person to be able to help lead Scranton in these troubled times as we not only figure out how to give relief to our small businesses, but how to help our residents gain employment back that they might have lost, or just match those skills that they have to what's out there, or train new skills to be able to enter the workforce again, or make a switch in a career. So I'll bring Eileen on to talk a little bit about the loan grant fund. And Eileen, are you with me?
I am there, Mayor. Thank you. And
Great.
thank you for the introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So as the mayor said, we do have a small business relief program that we've put together. There's $560,000 in this program. So it's two opportunities for businesses. The first is $275,000 in grants. Well, the plan is middle of next week. This initiative will be launched, so we're really excited about that. But it's an opportunity for businesses to get a grant, $2,500, and this grant will be able to be used for. We really opened this up because we've talked to a lot of businesses, we've talked to a lot of stakeholders about issues with the PPP and some restrictions around that. So one of the things right off the top that it'll be available to businesses is to mitigate the effects of COVID-19 on your business, whether that is some kind of modification you have to make to the business or equipment that you need to buy in order to reopen safely for your employees and your customers. You can also use it for payroll, for mortgage, for utilities, any of the other things that typically you would need and what you had used other sources of revenue for. So the requirements are business needs to be less than $1 million in revenue, located in the city of Scranton. It has to be locally owned, a non-franchise business, and you need to be current with all of your taxes, your trash fee, any other permits, fees, or fines that are owed to the city of Scranton in order to be able to be approved for this. And it will be on, once those eligibilities are met, it'll be on a first come, first served basis. The other opportunity that will be launched as soon as we complete the grants is $285,000 for loans. The loans will be between $3,000 and $20,000. For the loan, the first year interest rate is 0, and there's a 6-month deferral on paying back your loan. So really excited to hear about that. We've partnered with the Scranton Foundation, who's helping us to intake all of this grant information. So we're really grateful to them. And we've partnered with NEPA Alliance to help us process the loans. And Mayor, I'll stop there. And if anybody does have a question, maybe we could answer it there if there's something they need to know.
Yeah, so we Abby and Megan usually send us questions. So if they text me or you something, we can answer those questions. So while we wait maybe for a couple of questions, I'll talk about the Sidewalks program. So last night, City Council, and another piece, and this builds on the grants and loans ways that we're trying to help our small businesses ramp back up. Now you can spill your retail and your dining out onto the sidewalk in front of your business. So brick and mortar store, you want to go outside, usually with our licensing inspections department, there would be a permitting process that would, take a little bit of time, a little bit of money. Right now, though, we're not charging for that, but we do need to know what your plans are. That way we can get you back an approval. We just need to know what you're doing, and we're processing all of that today. The team is in the office and code enforcement and making sure that they're answering all those phone calls and emails. So there is the process. So you can call our LIPS department at 348-4193, extension 4280, or you can email Don King. That's dking at scrantonpa.gov. So DKING at scrantonpa.gov. Also, you'll see on our website and also on our Facebook page that we have a form that you can fill out and submit that right online to us. So that form is up, and I'm not looking at the link right now, but I can. It's an easy link, and we can get that into the comments. So we do have a question, Eileen. How do you apply for a loan or a grant? How do you apply for a loan or a grant? That's the question.
Okay, so next week, hopefully in the middle of the week, we'll be launching in a press release with guidance on this, but there will be a link on the Scranton website that will take you over to the Scranton Area Community Foundation's website, and the application will be listed on there. For the grant, simply you will fill out the application. It's all readily available information that you'll have, and you'll have to upload your tax return as well at the same time. But that information we will put out in a press release next week, so you'll be able to find it. And once we put it out, we will give about 24 hours before we start accepting applications, so that you'd have an opportunity to read the guidance, digest it, and collect the information that you would need.
And then the form, if you want to let us know that you want to do your outdoor seating or outdoor retail, it's scrantonpa.gov/ea.pdf. So that form is online, it's on Facebook, but also scrantonpa.gov/ea.pdf. That is to obtain a special enforcement permit, and you can mark on there whether you're food and alcohol, food only, or retail sales, non-food and alcohol. Of course, if you're going to do that, the public walkway must be clear 4 feet for ADA compliance. And then if alcohol is served outside, you've got to get that permission from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. Great news since our last town hall is that they are also waiving their requirements. However, you do still need to get permission. So the first step is to apply to us here at the city. You need city approval in order to apply at the state. So first call us at 570-348. So let me pull that up. 570-348-4193, extension 4280, or email dking@scrantonpa.gov. So that is in order for you to get a letter from us that we approve your temporary permit to have alcohol outside. That we're processing those just as quickly as we can, like I said, today. So go ahead and send that email to Don King, dking@scrantonpa.gov. We'll get you that letter. You need that letter to then go to the Liquor Control Board website and make that application. The exciting thing about this is all you need to show and start serving alcohol, if you have a liquor license already on the street, on the sidewalk in front of your business, is to print the application receipt that you've submitted your application to PLCB. You don't have to wait for them to do the usual 30 days. You don't have to pay a fee. You don't have to wait for them to get back to you. Once you get the letter from us, apply on PLCB's website, print that application submission receipt, and then you're good to go. So we're trying to turn this around just as quickly as we possibly can. Of course, your seating, your spacing does have to adhere to the guidelines under yellow phase. And if you do have a drawing of what you're looking to do, please attach a drawing for us when you apply. That just makes it easier for us to know what's going on. So with that, and something else that we're looking at is, we've talked a lot about trying to figure out if we're going to do some street closures to help enable our businesses to revive and provide some fun for the community. We had done some outreach, but then we did another round of outreach, and it's a really mixed response as to whether our businesses want that or not. So we are filtering through all of that, seeing what would work best, seeing what particular blocks the business owners are interested in, and then we'll try to run a pilot very soon. In the meantime, if you have interest in putting your retail or your seating out into your parking spot after parking hours, 5 p.m. Friday until Sunday night, you can let us know. Same as you would here. Call that number or email Don King, dking@scrantonpa.gov. Fill out that form. Let us know if you want to also go into that street parking. We're going to review all of that this afternoon and continually, but this afternoon ahead of this weekend, see what we can do, make sure that our emergency services are okay and aware, and then we'll hope to be able to allow you, if you would like to do some seating in those parking spaces in front of your business so that you can expand out and have more tables. So let us know about that. Again, with all that information, all that contact information I just gave you. I don't see any other questions, Eileen, for us about the fund. I'm sure we'll have lots more questions next week when we have more. We have well, we can send the guidance out. We can do that. So we'll get the guidance out so that everybody's able to see what you'll need to put together and prepare to send. I think a lot of you business owners already have all that ready because you've been applying for PPP and other things. I know that the PPP guidance has changed. I think that they've extended some of those stipulations. So if you do have the PPP, make sure to check back in and see what those updated guidelines are in order to make sure that you're able to successfully use those funds. So it's a very, very exciting. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it's in my notes. See, there you go. Let me read a few of these things. So PPP borrowers can choose to extend the 8-week period to 24 weeks or keep the original 8 weeks. Under the language in the bill, so the Senate has passed this bill. Under the language, the payroll expenditure requirement drops to 60 from 75%. So there's some detail in there that I won't go in through all of this, but these are important things. If you get the PPP, you've got to look at these new things, new regulations. Okay, borrowers can use the 24-week period to restore their workforce levels and wages to pre-pandemic levels required for full forgiveness. It must be done by December 31st, a change from the deadline of June 30th. So these are big changes to the PPP. Hopefully that's helpful for some of you out there. And we really hope, Eileen and I and our whole team, everyone at the city, really hope that the grants and loans that we're able to offer will be helpful to increase increase the funding that you have and then help you get through these next few months. And especially with the grants, we are really hoping that you can use those funds to help stabilize your business and figure out how to be able to purchase some of those things to mitigate the COVID virus. So if there are I don't see any other questions on that specifically. We'll make sure that we get that guidance out. It's very, very exciting. And another piece on the business side is we're almost ready to launch a new site that will be focused on jobs relief, economic relief, small business relief, and reopening. So we're trying to get that out to you. We're hoping to have it today, right now, at the town hall. But as these things go, there's a couple kinks. So we are going to be getting that out to you, and hopefully we continue to be able to get you the guidance and the answers to your questions. And I know that not all of this has been easy. For any of us, it's been the hardest in some ways on our small businesses. So thank you all for hanging in there and for being able to communicate with us and being open and flexible to all these different rules. I hope that we go to green phase soon, but we do need to be careful as we go to green phase and make sure that we still keep our numbers down. So, please still, make sure that you're wearing a mask to go in somebody's business. That's respectful to the employees of that business. That's respectful to the other customers in that business. And it's really, really important that we do that. If you are dining outside, it's very exciting. You do need to wear a mask until you sit at your table. And if you're getting up to use the restroom or something, you need to put that mask back on. So it's gonna be a new normal, like we talked about for a while here, maybe for a long while. But we're excited today that we're in yellow phase and we're able to open up some of those businesses. Eileen, anything else on your end?
No, Mayor. We'll post that guidance as soon as we can, and then in the middle of next week, we'll be able to open up the link and allow people to apply. So I'm really excited about it. And I think it's a great initiative on behalf of the administration to be able to help these small businesses.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all your help on it. And we will do another announcement next week ahead of the opening so that businesses know when to expect that to open, so everybody's aware. So thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
Okay. So very, very excited about that. So throughout yellow phase, just a reminder of what's here. It's telework, must commute where feasible. You see, I'm at my house today, working from home today. Telework is supposed to continue where feasible, and that's even under green. So it's still really important that we're not all going back to our places of work unnecessarily. Businesses with in-person operations must follow business and building safety orders. Childcare can open today, complying with guidance. With the childcare piece, we pulled out the youth summer camps. So summer programs that provide childcare and enrichment and recreational activities for children and youth are permitted to operate without a waiver in counties in the yellow and green phases. They have to follow the CDC guidance for youth and summer camps and the CD supplemental guidance for childcare that remains open. Summer programs include child care facilities regulated by the Department of Health, Department of Human Services, and following part day school age programs. So this is the following: a part day school age program that operates for less than 90 consecutive days per calendar year from the date the program opens to the date the program closes. a part day school age program that operates 2 hours or less per day for 3 or fewer days per week. A part day school age program that has single purpose for children's attendance, and then the purpose is the only focus of the program. And a drop-in program where children and youth may come and go at will. So those things can open. However, the green phase is when we see overnight camps and organized team sports. So this is where it gets a little bit tough. So we have these child care related programs that can open today, but our sports camps, our overnight camps, organized team sports, those won't resume until green phase. So if you own a camp, if you own a youth like basketball camp, volleyball camp, soccer camp, those, it's great to plan and hope that we're in green phase very, very soon. I said before, I asked the governor if we could go to green as soon as Luzerne does the same day. I don't know if that'll happen, but I'm certainly hoping that that can happen. Of course, they have the data to be able to make that decision, but we have formally asked for that. But if you do run a camp like that, we are supposed to open those under green phase, not yellow. So please be helpful and help us do the right thing here under yellow phase and not be opening up those types of camps yet. In the same vein, our parks remain open, but not the park equipment, not the slides and the swings and all of that type of equipment. We can't allow folks to get on there. We can't sanitize it with every time a child goes on it. So please do not go on those. And we still under yellow phase are not opening the basketball hoops back up or the volleyball courts, tennis courts. Those are not open up yet. As you know, the pools are closed for the summer. We will try our very best to see if we can find a way to open up maybe a couple of them before the end of the summer. I don't want to overpromise because I don't want anybody to be disappointed. So as of right now, those are closed, and we need to figure out ways that we can help provide other recreation for kids. Another piece on the parks front would be the Neon Gorge. On Sunday, we had yet another fatality at the Gorge. We already had been working on ways that we could mitigate this. This week, we added cameras up at NAOG. So there are 3 cameras up there now. And if you are up there, you're not supposed to be, we will come and let you know that you shouldn't be there. But you really just shouldn't be there in the first place. So please do not swim. Please do not jump off the rocks at the Gorge. There are deaths every year. It is devastating to your family. And of course, it's devastating to us at the city to have to go out there. We have rescue teams that had to be out last Sunday. Our firefighters are out there. Our police are out there. There's a dive team from Scott Township. I'm very grateful to just think about who has to go rescue you. Think about their families too. They're putting themselves in danger. And we just don't want to see this happen. It's not necessary. And there's lots of other ways to have fun at NAOG. You don't need to jump off those rocks. So that's something that we're doing there. We're still trying to find ways, and thoughts and questions or suggestions are welcome for mitigating that. So Chief Lucas wanted me to remind everyone that when we go in yellow, we still have to behave appropriately. We've got to wear masks, social distance, don't congregate in a large group. We are making progress. We've flattened the curve, but the virus has not gone away. Please do not bring this home to your family members or create a scenario where we overwhelm the hospitals. So please continue to help us, help the hospitals and help each other. Okay. All right. A couple of city items. So we will be extending the city emergency declaration for another couple of weeks. The facilities at City Hall were not opening to the public under yellow phase. So we still will be asking people we will continue no matter what, green phase or back to no phase. We are still asking people to pay your bills online, do your permits online. It's great for us to be able to do a lot of things remotely. It is, excuse me. We're we're trying to do everything remotely. It's helpful. It's quicker if you have access to the internet and you're able to. It's quicker to for us to be able to process those things. It reduces the amount of time that we spend on each transaction. That's very helpful. So I know we've got a lot of questions about refuse bills. You can pay your refuse bill online at scrantonpa.gov, or you can mail a check or money order to City Treasury at 340 North Washington Avenue, and that's 18503. This is important and something that we've gotten a lot of questions about. In order to receive a receipt, you must request the receipt and provide a pre-addressed stamped envelope. So you can just provide a pre-addressed stamped envelope when you pay your bill. Send that in with your check and your bill, and we can get you a receipt. It's tough for us to send another round of mail with another envelope and stamp to everyone with the receipt. Because we are no longer taking cash, I think the need for the receipt has decreased. So pay online, that money order. That's how to pay now. Again, we're not taking cash anymore. So if you want a receipt, please provide that pre-addressed stamped envelope. That's very helpful to us, and we'll make sure to get that receipt back to you. But other questions that might come up, you can email us at scranton311@scrantonpa.gov. We can get that to the Treasury Department, and they can answer your questions. But again, no cash. We're paying online, check or money order, and that will be in perpetuity. We will no longer be having cash payments at the Treasury Department. Okay. Okay, so even though we still are in yellow phase, we still are concerned about COVID. It's important to know the symptoms. So at this point, the COVID systems for adults, well, for anybody, but cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, 2 of the following symptoms: fever, chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, new loss of taste or smell. For children, some children are developing multisystem inflammatory syndrome. That's MISC, is known to be a complication of COVID-19. Some symptoms of MISC are persistent fever, rash or change in skin color, red eyes or conjunctivitis, abdominal pain, swollen lymph nodes. So persistent fever, rash or change in skin color, red eyes, conjunctivitis, abdominal pain, or swollen lymph nodes. If your child has these symptoms, contact your child's pediatrician immediately, as that MISC is known to be a complication of COVID-19. If you think that you need to get tested, if you have the symptoms, still calling 1-877-PA-HEALTH or the Geisinger triage line 284-3657, or your primary care provider. So we now have testing at CVS in town as well. That's at 509 Davis Street. You pre-register at cvs.com. If you are not experiencing symptoms, but you do want a test, you can register at riteaid.com. You have to get to Plains Township, though. That's the issue there, is that it's all the way in Plains Township. If you can get there, though, you can pre-register and go down for a test, even though you aren't showing symptoms. If you're interested in helping with the contact tracing program for the governor, it's the new Civilian Coronavirus Corps. You can register at serve.pa.gov. That's serv.pa.gov. Or your organization, if you're interested in your organization helping, RA-DH contact tracing at pa.gov. So serve.pa.gov is for individuals looking to join the Civilian Coronavirus Corps to hire and train Pennsylvanians to ramp up contact tracing. So we all know more testing, more tracing is the key to us being able to fight this virus for the length of time it will take to get a vaccine, which will be quite some time. No one I've ever spoken with in the medical field has said that it could possibly happen this year. It would have to be next year. Okay. Let's look. Okay. So in terms of helping our neighbors, the food access. So still connecting to services, dial 211. That's the easiest way to, if you've got a lot of different questions. There will be another Friends of the Poor drive-through giveaway on June 17th. That location is TBD. So there will be one next Wednesday, but that location is, or sorry, June 17th. So that's 10 days from now. So we'll get you more information on that one next week, and we'll get that up on social media. We still have the pantries at Jackson and Valley View Terraces, Monday through Friday, 9 to 12. The Keystone Mission giveaway, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 4 at West Olives, 8 West Olive Street. The Salvation Army Daily Food Box, 344-9878. And if you want the drive-through pickup at Salvation Army, Tuesday through Thursdays at Salvation Army on 500 South Washington Avenue. Okay, so those are some of the updates for COVID and city services. It continues to be a long process here, but we just have to keep doing what we're doing, and we hopefully can celebrate some of these businesses opening today, but we can't forget that the need is going to continue. The NEPA Gives charitable campaign is going today. It's all day. I think it started at midnight. It's going through midnight tonight. NEPA Gives is a way for you to give to your favorite charity and get a match that is going to be able to really multiply your impact to be able to give to some of these entities that are helping citizens in Scranton and in Lackawanna County who are trying to recover from job losses, trying to recover from just across the board, all the economic issues that we've been having here in the whole country. So please go to, well, Megan, if you could put that in the sidebar there on Facebook, how to link to the NEPA Gives fundraiser that they're doing today, that'd be great. And that's through the Scranton Area Foundation, which is continues to be an amazing partner for us here in the city. So I wanted to speak to, I think we touched on it last night at the city council meeting. There's a letter and a policy document that we released last night that explains a little bit about the Scranton Police Department's policies and how they match up with some of the policy proposals that are out there and people are advocating for a reform of our police policies across the board in the nation. So I'll just wanted to read you the letter from Chief Graziano and we'll go through some of those policies. So we have a responsibility to create an environment where citizens feel safe to express their views and free speech is encouraged. Scranton Police Chief Carl Graziano continues to reach out to community organizers to listen and see how SPD can be helpful in their efforts. No one should feel unsafe anywhere, let alone in their own community. No one should fear that they or their loved ones will be treated with disregard, disrespect, or violence. Racial injustice is embedded in our country's history. It's our duty to acknowledge the truth of that history and eradicate the disparities in our current social structure. Violence like the horror that we saw take place in Minneapolis last week feels like violence against our own community. Feelings of outrage, pain, and the need to take action are all valid. It is our job, it's my job as mayor, it's the police chief's job as chief to listen to you and take action through better communication and continuously revisiting and revising policies and procedures. The men and women in law enforcement who protect us every day are also hurting. I'm grateful to Chief Graziano and the SPD for their dedication to policies to reduce use of force and maintain constant training for officers. We are and always have been through the Policy Review Committee at the Scranton Police Department, reviewing policies and training schedules to ensure that our police department has the most up-to-date training and our policies match best practices. We are here to listen, act, and move forward with you. So we have been seeing, and I had seen this before we started to get a lot of questions about the Campaign Zero advocacy movement and the 8 Can't Wait proposed policy reforms. So you'll see in this document that we address each of the 8. We have elements of each of them in place in Scranton already, but that doesn't mean that we can't do better. That doesn't mean that we can't review these policies and work with the community to adapt them. So the number 1 is the SPD already prohibits use of chokeholds and strangleholds, so they are prohibited from using any sort of neck restraint. requiring de-escalation. So in addition to the crisis intervention training, which is a de-escalation training, our use of force policy states that escalation in the use of force continuum typically follows a pattern of increasing levels, as does the de-escalation of force as the threat diminishes. So Chief Graziano can come on at a later town hall and we can walk through these things in more detail. He's also hosting a community town hall essentially down at the Scranton Police Department next Saturday, June 13th at 10:30 a.m. So it's a community conversation with the chief of police. So we'll make sure to get that event out to you all. But again, next Saturday, June 13th at 10:30 a.m., a conversation with Chief Graziano. Number 3 on this list is require a warning before shooting. Our policy is, if possible, officers shall first give a verbal warning. Exhausting all other means before shooting. This is part of our use of force continuum. Duty to intervene. This is what we did not see happen in Minneapolis last week in the murder of George Floyd. It's inherent. So duty to intervene is inherent, as it is a crime not to stop and or report excessive force. Our officers would be held criminally liable should they not intervene. However, we will add language reinforcing this to our existing policy. Policy requires mandatory reporting by all officers using any force. And another piece of the 8 Can't Wait campaign is ban shooting at vehicles. So Chief Graziano is pretty clear on this, that our policy is very restrictive and requires all other means of defense to be exhausted, including moving out of the path of a moving vehicle. However, he cannot completely ban shooting as vehicles that are there. As there are exigent circumstances where this may be necessary. For example, police could be being actively shot at from occupants of a suspect vehicle, or the vehicle being utilized as a weapon to injure or kill civilians, such as a terrorist act. So the intent of our policy is to restrict officers from ever doing that, except in extreme circumstances. The required use of force continuum and requiring comprehensive reporting, bullet point 7 and 8, those are also already part of our policy. The document also goes into bias-based profiling. SPD has various policies and procedures in place to prevent any type of bias-based policing, regardless of race, color, religion, including but not limited to a bias-based profiling policy, which strictly identifies and prohibits any types of racial profiling or bias based on profiling and mandates at a minimum. So at a minimum, all sworn members receive in-house training on this at least once every 3 years. So it's something that's in place. I'm sure that we can improve that. So use of force, Scranton PD has a comprehensive use of force policy and use of force reporting investigating criteria. The policy strictly prohibits officers from using any type of neck restraint. At a minimum, all officers must attend annual training on the proper use of force, which review areas such as the law on the use of force continuum, moral and ethical uses of force, and safety issues related to use of force situations. On incident review, use of force incidents, however slight, are reviewed for justification and policy compliance. De-escalation training. Beginning in 2011, SPD was the first department in the Northeast to adopt crisis intervention training. We have officers who are train the trainers for this de-escalation training, and they have been and are still currently part of the NEPA CIT team and help train other officers throughout the region in this week-long de-escalation training. Chief Graziano teaches the policy portion of this to all CIT training classes within the region. Since CIT was introduced in 2011, the SPD's use of force incidents within the department dropped 60% from 2009 levels. Duty to intervene. It's inherent that, as it is a crime not to stop and report excessive force, they would be liable should they not intervene. However, we will add language reinforcing this to our existing policy. Body-worn cameras. So 2 years ago, the SPD got body-worn cameras, and they remain one of the only police forces in the region that have them. The body-worn cameras and mobile video recorders are installed. Every officer has a body-worn camera, and then mobile video recorders are installed in all of our patrol vehicles. The recorders automatically turn on every time the vehicle's emergency lights are activated, and also every time the gun release switch is activated to remove a rifle or shotgun from these patrol vehicles. The forward-facing cameras capture both video and audio, as all officers, in addition to their body-worn cameras, wear a wireless microphone which syncs with the vehicle mobile video recorder. For the past 2 years, all uniformed patrol officers wear these body-worn cameras. This policy mandates that, excuse me, at the beginning of all calls for service and proactive interactions with citizens, that their body-worn cameras must be activated, and outside of privileged communications, they cannot be turned off until the incident has completely concluded. In addition to the officers being required to manually turn on the body-worn cameras for all incidents, we have automatic activation triggers which also turn on the body-worn cameras. For example, when a vehicle's emergency lights or vehicle gun rack switches are activated, an officer's body-worn camera already automatically turns on, as it does automatically turn on that of all other officers that are within 30 feet of the vehicle's sending unit. In addition, the SPD is in the trial stages of testing out a new technology where a sensor is installed in an officer's holster, where every time he or she removes their firearm from a holster, it automatically activates their body-worn camera. If this trial stage is successful, all patrol officers wearing body-worn cameras will also have these sensors installed in their holsters. Again, these automatic camera triggers are in addition to the mandatory requirements of officers manually turning them on. It adds an extra layer to ensure they're turned on immediately, as there can be unexpected emergency situations where an officer cannot turn on a camera immediately, and these triggers will help account for those rare instances. So that's what's in that document that is out there on body-worn cameras. I would say I would love to get to a world where a country where we don't have, where police don't have firearms, and where we don't have firearms, that citizens aren't carrying them either. I've lived in Japan for a couple of years. There are no guns there, and it's lovely. We don't have to worry about some of these things because there are no guns there. That would be something that would be a great reality for us to live in. However, I don't think that that's feasible in the near term. It's something that we have to work toward. So I commit to work toward gun control policies and making sure that the policies of our police force are as progressive and proactive as possible to reduce any externalities and reduce the use of force as much as possible. We have a long way to go in our country, and we have a huge responsibility at the local level to do everything that we can. I think that you can see from what we just went through and what we'll have Chief Graziano on again to reiterate, and we can have community conversations about this on an ongoing basis. Again, Chief Graziano is hosting one open to the community 10:30 next Saturday morning. We have to make change at the local level. We also, in terms of a culture, we need help from the state policy and federal policy that really helps. So it has to come from the bottom here at the local level. It also has to come from the top, from the federal level on down through the state. So I will work with Senator Casey, Senator Toomey, Congressman Cartwright, work with them to see what it is that we need to put into place, what we should be advocating for from the city level. I think we've seen that there's a power of mayors, chiefs of police, chiefs of fire, emergency management coordinators. There's a real power in things coming from cities. So we'll be looking at ways that we should be advocating ourselves up to that federal level. And anything that we can do, any ideas that you all have, we welcome that. We want this to be a conversation. We have to make sure that we set expectations that there's change that we can make today. There's policies that we can review and revise very quickly here at the local level. Some of these larger cultural issues, the whole way that we train police in this country, that's something that we have to work on as a country. And so we're up for the challenge, and we look forward to working with you on that. Okay, so we'll switch over to, before I forget. So it sounds like we did get a message. Let's see. Sounds like there will be a rally at 4 p.m. today on Courthouse Square, a peaceful assembly of folks that want to express their views on what we just talked about in terms of, making sure that we have the right policies, and that we are fighting for justice here in Scranton and Lackawanna County, across the state, across the country. So I welcome that. I would say to folks heading down to the rally, our police forces there They'll be there on foot to support you and make sure everything stays calm. I don't see why it wouldn't. But please still do social distance. This is what's so hard about all this, is that we want everyone to exercise our free speech. And this is, it's all critically important to how we move forward as a country, that we take this moment and we take this opportunity to take a hard look at how we do things. We also have a pandemic happening. So in order for us to make sure that we're still social distancing, wearing masks, please, if you are going to go down today, please wear a mask. Really, please wear a mask. Please do distance to the best of your ability. The SPD, we're happy to close down a street if needed, if we need to do that today to help make that happen. That's a decision we can make down there when that starts. We're happy to do that. Chief Graziano has done that many times before in the past, as Courthouse Square is often a place for peaceful protest. But please do distance, because the last thing that I know anybody intends is for us to have a COVID outbreak as a result of people wanting to make positive change. So please do adhere to the guidelines as best as you can. We can't stop the groups from forming, but we do ask that you please use caution, please wear those masks, please distance, and please remember we are very much still in this COVID fight. Okay, so questions. Okay. So peculiar slurp, how do businesses apply to have outdoor dining and retail? So like we talked about at the top, so please you can use that link at scrantonpa.gov/ea.pdf to submit your form for the outside dining. Now, I think you might have already been in touch with Don King. That's dking at scrantonpa.gov. So any of the businesses looking to go out onto the sidewalks, like I said, that form is online. You can go ahead and submit that. If you have questions, Don King, dking at scrantonpa.gov, or the phone number. Let me pull that phone number up again. And they're working really hard to make sure they get you that information. So you can reach the Code Enforcement Department at 348-4193, extension 4280. So we're trying to get that out to you so that you can go ahead and get your sidewalk up and running for this afternoon. Hopefully, I would love to see Peculiar Slurp and other restaurants. I'd love to see you guys out using those sidewalks today. And again, let us know if you'd like to go into those parking spaces after Friday at 5 and into Sunday. We will review everything together, make sure it works for emergency services, and then let you go ahead and do that. So we are looking at street closures. We're trying to sort out what that might look like, and we'll do a pilot program. We will absolutely let everybody know before we do something like that, and see what is best to balance the needs of our restaurants and the needs of our retailers. Okay, so when will the malls open? Malls themselves, the indoor pieces of malls are considered recreation, so they're not open till green phase. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense. That's where we are. In yellow phase, retail can open, but not indoor recreation. So, gyms are still closed, for example, and the governor has put the indoor malls into that same bucket. So Viewmont Mall remains closed except for restaurant takeout. The marketplace at Steamtown is mostly closed except for the medical facilities, Starbucks, and Boscov's. Boscov's opens at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And the shops at Montage, because they all have a separate entrance onto the sidewalk, those are all beginning to open as well. Okay. So Norma and Iris, what is the time frame to cash checks for the garbage fee sent 2 weeks ago and has not been cashed? Yeah, I checked in with our treasurer last night, and he and his team are, I got this question from a few people. I know the city council got some questions as well. So I sent that in, and he said that there are some that they're a little bit backlogged on some of those checks. So they'll be getting cashed as soon as possible. I'm hoping that is very, very, very soon. And again, if you do want a receipt, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope in with your bill. Something to keep in mind that's tough for all of us is at the city we don't we don't have a lot of funds. We're worried about our budget, and so automatically sending out another envelope and stamp to everyone, that adds cost, and we'd love to not be able to have to do that. So if you do want a receipt, please do include that self-addressed stamp envelope in there, and we will get those checks cashed as soon as we can. So I'm continuing to check in on that for you. Let's see. So on city budget, Alexa is asking when furloughed city employees can expect to be updated on their jobs. We are looking at the budget, and we're working for clerical union employees. We're in touch with the clerical union and trying to figure out what we can do. So as we know, even under green phase, the governor recommends that we continue to do remote work. And when we do reopen City Hall, we are hoping to reduce the footprint of where the public goes. We're hoping to be able to contain that a little bit, so we don't have folks needlessly and necessarily going throughout the building, because we have to keep it clean. That's a responsibility that we have. So we are looking at everything, and we are trying to sort out what we can do. The reality here is that cities, counties, states, federal government, everyone is looking at their budgets. I know that most of the mayors that I've spoken with have had to lay off employees as well. We're looking at budget gaps that I don't know how we're going to fill them. So Alexa, I'm sorry that I don't have a more clear answer for you, but we're looking at it and trying to figure out what's best for the city. We aren't going to have the budget revenues this year that we thought we were going to have. Nicole asks, will I be attending the protest downtown today? So I just got confirmation that it's for 4:00 today. I wasn't sure until just a few minutes ago that was happening. I'll check in, and I will certainly try to be there. I'd like to be there. I also don't want it to be about, well, it kind of depends. It depends on whether the organizers would like that. I think it's kind of up to the organizers. Would they like that or would they not? It's in a situation like I'm in, I don't want to be there if it's not something that the organizers want. So I guess I'll make that decision over the next few hours, depending on what people that are going to be there would like. So if folks would like me to be there, I'd be happy to be there. If folks would rather not have an elected official there, then that is completely okay too. And I'm open and flexible. And let's see, Debbie is asking, is somebody going to watch the cameras at the gorge? So yes, those cameras are up, and people are watching those cameras. There's also new signs up. There were already many signs, but we added even more signs, even more clear language, we think, this week. So anybody going there starting today, or starting a couple days ago rather, please know we're watching, and that the signs are up for a reason, that it is very dangerous to go. Please don't go. Please. I don't know. I've been mayor for 5 months today, I think. And the call from Chief Lucas on Sunday was one of the worst moments so far. So please do not swim in the gorge. Please do not jump off the rocks. It is not worth it. It's really not worth it. Okay, let me see if I have any other questions from you all. Let's see. Okay, so Kira had the same question about the garbage. So another piece just on the garbage fee. So we have a really small team in our Treasury Department that's running that process. We get thousands and thousands of those bills. We're trying to do it as fast as we can. In the same way that I'm talking about funds and addressing envelopes, and we're talking about furloughs, the city doesn't have we don't have the funding. We don't have the resources that the county has for things. We don't have the resources that a bank would have to process your check the next day. We don't have, an app like I do with my banking. I just take a picture of my check and there it is deposited. And I know that we don't have those capabilities. I'd like to get to a point where maybe we do, but we we really, cities like ours run on a shoestring. And I know a lot of you out there, all of us out there, really have a tough time. We have really high taxes in this city, so we have to be really careful about how we manage, and things that we add in terms of technology. We have to figure out how to offset that in other ways. So it's a real challenge. And I know there's a lot of things that I see in the city, and I think, gosh, why can't we just do this today? Some things cost, it's money, it's time, it's resources, and we have a long way to go in this city. So that's what the team is working on all of the time. But sometimes you see things, like the website that we're putting up. Our graphic design and our marketing is Tiffany, who's also my executive assistant. We all wear many hats at the city. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have funds for that. We don't have, marketing contract. We don't have a communications specialist. You guys, as you know, you are looking at the communications team. It's me, it's Megan and Abigail on the Facebook with me. We do this really lean and mean. We hope that we're doing a good job. We think we are. We're trying our hardest. We're open to your ideas and your questions. But when you picture the Treasury Department, it's not like a bank. We don't have 17 people processing checks and things. We've got just a couple of folks there. So we have to balance our resources and use of your taxpayer dollars with the need to get the services out to you. And we're trying the best we can. We'll continue to try. And I really appreciate everyone. And let's see, last question, Mike, when will recycling for bottles and cans resume? Another great example. We've got a small team. We have learned that the recycling center doesn't plan to reopen this year. We have to figure out an alternative. We have a small team with which to do that. That team is working on that. They're looking for alternatives. I can't wait for that for us to find one. That's something that this has just happened in the last week that we got that information. So we've got to figure out a way to recycle, and that's going to take it's going to take some effort to find it, and then we've got to figure out what the cost is and all of those things. So I just remind everyone to continue to communicate like this. It's really helpful for me to know what's on your mind, and I hope it's helpful to hear from me directly what our challenges are, that we just don't have all the resources that we would like to have. So we need to work with you and figure out how we can plug the gaps and also set expectations. Last thing I'm going to do is try to set expectations that I can't follow through with. So examples of that are the pools. I hope we can open the pools, but I can't guarantee it, so I won't promise you that. I would love to lower all of our taxes. I can't promise that. I never will promise something that I can't deliver on. Alexa, to your question about furloughed city employees, I won't sit here and say that I know everybody can come back under green phase, because I don't know that, and I don't want to set expectations that and overpromise. That's not fair. That's not good leadership. That's not who I am. So I know that there's days like this. I come off of these town halls and I think, gosh, there wasn't a lot of good news at the end when I was answering questions. But I'd rather we set expectations and we work together than try to make these lofty promises I can't keep. So I hope that that's helpful. I really, really, truly appreciate all of you. I don't see any more questions on my device here. So, please have a good day. If you do attend the rally at 4, please social distance. It's really important that we express our views and make our voices heard. And I don't just say that like you make your voice heard. I mean, I am listening. I'm absolutely listening. Glynis Johns and I are doing an Instagram live at 6 o'clock tonight on the Black Scranton Instagram live. We actually already had that planned, and it couldn't be more timely. So, I'm going on different mediums, different ways to show you that I'm listening, and we'll continue to do that. This is a conversation. It's not a one-way street. So, let us know what that is. I'll attend today if that's the right thing to do. If it's not, I won't. And I know there's another rally next Saturday. So, I could attend that one instead, or both, depends. So we'll make that decision over the next few hours. And I just, please know that I'm with you, and we are not just listening, we're ready to act. We're ready to revise policies. And I deeply feel that we need truth and reconciliation in our country, and whatever we can do in the city of Scranton to have that reconciliation at a local level, we are up for that. So enjoy yellow phase. Please remember yellow means caution. Wear those masks, socially distance. Go enjoy the sidewalk dining. It won't be, right next to the person next to you, which honestly my husband will love because he hates feeling like he's crammed in a restaurant. So do enjoy that. Support our local businesses, small businesses out there. Check out that new Ppp guidance. Wednesday, remember, please get the information together. We'll get that guidance out so you know what to do to apply for those grants and loans that the city is now offering. And thanks to City Council for passing that last night. Thanks to City Council for being here with us and working with me and the city and helping get information out. Thanks to all of the city employees who are on furlough, who are sacrificing so much right now. Thank you for that. Thanks to our police department, our fire department, our public works department, and our code enforcement department, who are working so hard every single day, have been on the front lines during all of this COVID. And right now our code enforcement is scrambling and trying to get all that information out to our businesses. I did have an update for the fire department, sorry, before I go. So we, under yellow phase, we're relaxing some of the COOP, that COOP plan, and under green phase, everything will go back to normal in terms of Kelly days, vacation days, and the like. So I know there's been a lot of questions about what's happening with the fire department. So in green phase, when COVID is no longer, well, not no longer, but when we're less concerned about contamination between some of the units and at some of the facilities that the firefighters use, we'll go back to normal in green phase. So thanks to the fire department for sticking with us during this whole plan. So it'll end up, if we go green phase, it'll have been 3 months that we had this different plan in place. I appreciate all your patience with that. And so that's some good news that I didn't have in my notes and I forgot to say. So thanks, especially I would say, not just to the firefighters, but to Chief Lucas, who has shepherded that plan throughout. And we have not had any COVID cases in our fire department. So under his leadership, we've avoided a situation where we could have seen that. We were worried about that, and thanks to Chief Lucas for shepherding us through that. Again, green phase, the fire department staffing plan will go back to normal. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you next Friday. We will now do these just once a week, Friday at noon. Now that we're out of red phase, we'll do Friday at noon, and we'll continue these throughout my time in office. I think it's a great way to wrap up the week, answer your questions, get the information out there. You can hear it right from the source. And I appreciate all you being out there. Thank you.